all this proves too, Jordan did a lot by himself. All he ever really needed was one dude to step up. One dude to step up and really give some help. And that man was Scottie Pippen. That's why Michael Jordan still to this day says, you mention my name, you should mention his name too. All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you all are having a good day so far. So I had a request, and I'm not gonna lie, I saw this on my feed a couple of weeks ago now, I believe, and I've been waiting for the right opportunity to check this one out because it's a little bit of a longer one. It's called Scottie Pippen, Undervalued documentary. Now, this is a 51-minute video, and it's by a channel called Sport X. I don't believe I've heard of this channel, but then again, I am subscribed, so apparently I have. Apparently I have heard of this channel. But yeah, I was looking forward to checking this one out with you guys, and I did get multiple requests to react to this. So I've got a lot of opinions on Scottie Pippen, and I'm gonna try to keep it with basketball here and not get into my personal feels about everything that's happened over the last like 4 or 5 years with Scottie. And just keep it on basketball because, you know, I pretty much watched his entire career, and I grew up being such a huge Scottie Pippen Jordan fan that I think I'm the right guy for this reaction. So anyways, without further ado, because this is going to be a long video, I'm going to leave the original link down below for this video in the description box. So if you guys want to check out this channel or watch this without my commentary, right there, the link is there for you. Everybody else, please leave this video a like. It helps pump out the video, and I appreciate you guys doing it every time. All right, let's do some Scottie Pippen stuff.
Michael's a terrific player. I'm not taking anything away from Michael, but Scottie's a rebounder, as a passer, as a defender, and as, you know, the whole complete package.
He was a 6-time NBA champion, a 7-time All-Star, and one of the greatest defenders the game has ever seen.
Block shot, double header, Treat to Harvey, underneath. Oh, standing ovation.
He earned 10 All-Defensive Team selections, made the All-NBA First Team 3 times, and was a 2-time Olympic gold medalist.
Scottie turns it in right of the lane.
His career spanned 17 seasons, and in that time, Scottie Pippen redefined what it meant to be a complete player. A versatile force who could score, pass, defend, and lead. Yet, for all his accolades, his dedication, and his impact on the game, Pippen's name is often overshadowed. How could one of basketball's most accomplished players, a Hall of Famer and a legend in his own right, remain undervalued? Why was Scottie Pippen, a player who did everything on the court, always seen in someone else's shadow? This is the story of Scottie Pippen, undervalued.
Cool intro. Real quick before we move forward, one, I don't feel like we undervalued him. We always mentioned him with Michael Jordan. It was always Jordan and Pippen. They were the duo. So no one ever really discredited Pippen. In fact, there was a time where I think we overcredited Pippen until we saw him without Jordan, you know, in when he was playing in Portland and whatnot. It was like, we thought he was something different, but like, I don't think we ever undervalued him. We always gave him his flowers all the time. The team gave him his flowers. Jordan, Phil, everyone gave him flowers. So I'm not sure where this undervalued, underappreciative narrative is coming from, but I've noticed this is a thing lately over the last couple of years, is everyone pretends like we never gave him his flowers, but we all did. Anybody who was alive watching basketball at the time would know. Scottie Pippen was a big deal. But anyways, yeah, let's move on. Yep, last dance.
Wearing number 7, starting forward at 6'11" from Croatia, Tony Kukoc. Wearing number 33, starting forward at 6'7" from Central Arkansas, Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, this is him with the back spasms, the locked up back.
The Bulls are just 4-4 on the road in the playoffs,
In Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals, Scottie Pippen would play with a back injury.
Post Scottie on him. They go to it right away.
Facing a raucous Utah crowd and a revitalized Jazz team, Scottie Pippen and the Bulls would be dealt another ominous setback in the early moments of Game 6.
The start of that game, I got a dunk early in the game and got banged a little bit by Malone.
Stockton comes over on the double
I
team.
remember this very well. Right there on the landing.
Couldn't recover. Hornacek was left alone with him.
And that really put me back on my heels.
Bob, I think Scottie Pippen pulled his back out on that dunk shot on his first play when he reached up for the rim and he pulled it down. I think he stretched up and he grimaced as he came down and he could barely run.
Scottie, being one of the leading
Back
figures
spasms suck, or a locked up back. Like, it is the worst.
on the 90s Chicago Bulls, would be a huge loss for the team in a finals game.
It looks like Scottie Pippen is laboring as he moves up and down the court. Ahmad told you he's suffering from a bad back. Malone gets his first.
That sound effect for the swish.
But he kept fighting through the pain, and even contributed by scoring.
Pippen with the hook.
We're going to try not to laugh at it every time.
5 minutes remained of the first quarter.
I'm going to try not to laugh at it every time, but it's really loud in my headphones. By the way, have we just switched narrators already? I feel like this is a whole different narrator than we started with.
Scottie Pippen would go to the locker room. Could this be the end of Scottie Pippen's Chicago Bulls career?
The Bulls lead by 9, but here's the bad news for them. Moments ago, Scottie Pippen, accompanied by trainer Chip Schaefer, leaves the bench and heads for the locker room.
Look at Scottie Pippen. I mean, this guy was a genius.
Now I'm sitting next to Pip. I'm watching my man, and now I'm sitting next to him. This is one of my childhood idols, so this is awesome.
Pippen has Armstrong.
Ball pressure, playing passing lanes, blocking shots, taking charges, and he played with a passion on the defensive end of the floor, like he's going after
guys
it.
like this. Fight a guy like Barkley with a strength. Watch this play. That tells you what Pippen's all about.
Yeah, offensively, I always took inspiration from Jordan. But defensively, because I had supremely long arms compared to everybody else I knew, I really related to how I took Scottie Pippen's method on defense, basically. That was my thing, because I saw he can do things with his long arms that most people couldn't, and so could I.
Scottie right.
BJ with you.
Scottie right, Michael left.
Well, not just push Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen pushed me. I mean, it was his big brother, little brother scenario.
If I can learn how to cut angles off like Scottie, be aggressive on the defensive end of the floor like Scottie, I think that'll just take my game and the team that drafts me to an entirely different level.
That's Kobe talking, by the way.
It's tough. To be a wing player and going against Scottie was very tough.
Here's McDaniel, should get another one.
Yeah, those long arms help. They really do.
Complete package. He can do everything.
Yeah, you could be a second late where you don't think you're that the defender's a threat, but when you got those supremely long arms, yeah, it's like you gain a second in cutting that gap and splitting that gap. Hamburg, Arkansas. That's where he was
Scottie
born.
Maurice Pippen was born on September 25, 1965, in Hamburg, Arkansas, a small town in the southeastern part of the state.
Scottie grew up in rural Arkansas, the youngest of 12 children.
He was the youngest of 12 children in a large family. His parents, Ethel and Preston Pippen, played significant roles in his upbringing.
My family probably shaped me more as who I am as a person. You know, the humble, caring and sharing. I think that all comes from being the youngest of 12 kids and having to sort of play your role and know where you really fit in.
His father, Preston, was a hard-working man who worked in a paper mill until he suffered a stroke that left him partially paralyzed and unable to work. This event placed a considerable financial strain on the family.
The obstacles of growing up in a small town and trying to reach a dream that you set out for. It was something that I ran into a lot of roadblocks. I ran into things that could detour me.
Moving into the front court. Here's Armstrong into left back for Pippen. Oh, in his face! Wow.
That was on Ewing too.
A monster jam right in the face of Patrick Ewing. Oh man!
I choose to live my dream and go for what I felt like something I could achieve and that I wanted to achieve.
Scottie Pippen attended Hamburg High School in Hamburg, Arkansas. Despite his later success,
oh wow, Scottie Pippen County. I never knew that. That's so cool.
His high school basketball career was not particularly notable. Pippen was relatively short for a future NBA player, standing at around 6'1" during his high school years.
Wow.
Pippen played as a point guard for his high school team. His skills were solid, but not exceptional enough to attract...
That's insane, because I think he's, what, 6'7"? So he grew 6 inches during high... Dude, I was 6'3" entering high school. I'm still 6'6". So, like, I was tall ahead of time before my peers, but I didn't get that late growth spurt. I had early growth spurts.
Significant attention from college scouts.
He grew a lot.
After graduating from Hamburg High School, there were little to no interest for a young Scottie.
Not recruited out of high school, he began college as the team manager at tiny Central Arkansas.
Ultimately, Pippen decided to attend the University of Central Arkansas. The primary reason he didn't receive a scholarship was his lack of standout performance and visibility during high school. At the time, he stood at about 6'1" and weighed only around 150 pounds, which was not particularly impressive for college basketball scouts.
Yeah, that's no wonder why he played kind of point guard style, because he probably grew up playing that role because he was shorter.
Just the story of Scottie Pippen is pretty remarkable. Someone that came to school here to be a manager on our basketball team.
I was a walk-on. My high school coach called up his college coach, who was coaching the University of Central Arkansas at that time, and asked him if he would give me a tryout.
And then grows 7 inches, between his freshman year and his probably junior year, and becomes an
7 inches in 2 years, between freshman and junior year. That's insane right there.
All-American basketball player.
Pippen's growth in stature was matched by his development in skills. He honed his ball handling, shooting, and defensive abilities, making him an all-around player.
The Seattle Supersonics select Scott Pippen of Central Arkansas.
Scott Pippen from the University of Central Arkansas. He's 21 years old, and that's right, folks, you probably have never heard of Scottie Pippen, but believe me, the NBA scouts heard about him.
High school, he was 6'1", and he was recruited as a guard, and between his freshman and sophomore year, he grew 6 inches and is now 6'8", amongst a lot of other taller players out there. He's an outstanding talent. He can pass it, he can shoot it, he can handle it.
Yep. And it was a draft day trade. So as much crap as I always give Krause, good call on this one, because they weren't going to be able to get Pippen, but they did a draft day trade in order to get him.
With the 5th pick of the 1987 draft, the Seattle Supersonics selected Scottie Pippen.
He can play a small forward, a big guard, a point guard. It's nice to have that flexibility to move a player like him around.
A lot of people didn't know about you. The NBA scouts did in the Aloha Classic. You had a great performance, also won the slam dunk contest as a 6'7" guard.
Oh.
Do you feel that that's going to give you an added advantage, because a lot of teams are looking for those bigger guards now in the mold of Magic Johnson?
Yeah, I feel that'll give me a great advantage. I feel, but still a whole lot that I have to learn about the NBA. And going in, I'm looking to go in and play probably the 3 position, but someday I want to be able to work my way into the point guard position.
Wow, I've never seen that clip. So he was playing point guard. That's what I assumed. But now he's a taller point guard, a la Magic Johnson style. And he kind of did. Let's be real. Once the triangle was introduced in Chicago, he was pretty much the point guard. But also the triangle doesn't really call for a point guard. But he was often taking the ball up. More often than not, he brought the ball up the court and initiated the offense. But after that, the triangle is an offense that just flows naturally. And it doesn't really need a point man. But it's, I didn't think I was going to learn stuff. I'm already learning stuff 10 minutes in.
A childhood dream finally realized. But as the crowd cheered, another surprise quickly followed. Within minutes of his selection, news broke that Seattle had traded Pippen to the Chicago Bulls.
Seattle trades to Chicago the 5th pick, the rights to the 5th pick in the draft, Scott Pippen.
A team with a young, explosive talent in Michael Jordan.
Pippen, of course, became a Bull at yesterday's NBA college draft. Scottie was in New York, and that's where he met Grant, who was selected 5 rounds later. Both looking forward to playing on the same team as Michael Jordan.
5 rounds
Michael
later?
Says the feeling is mutual.
I've never seen either one of them play, but I never see Charles Oakley play or heard of him either. So, you know, you never really can base that on that.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to get to camp to see what happens.
Pippen's career.
Duncan never heard of Ginobili, couldn't even pronounce the name, but eventually, sure did. He kind of didn't like Tony Parker in the beginning either, but yeah, it's funny how it all works.
Path changed in an instant.
So wait, real quick, Horace Grant, what was he drafted? Because, like, it sounds like he was like deep into that draft that they picked up Horace Grant, and I never really paid attention to that.
October 7th, 1987. Chicago fans got their first look at Scottie Pippen, a rookie forward from Central Arkansas. He wasn't the biggest name on the team. That was Michael Jordan. But as Pippen stepped onto the court, he made an impression.
One of them being introduced now, Scott Pippen, a little-known college player. Vincent Askew comes on for the Sixers, and Scottie Pippen comes on for the Chicago Bulls.
Quick, agile, and tenacious, Pippen showed flashes of his potential. His defense was tight.
Now Charles spinning and twisting. Has to kick it back outside, and it's stolen. Pippen will run all the way in and jam with
His passing shot, and his hustle non-stop.
Sellers, nope. Oh, Pippen.
The sounds.
Here comes Jordan. The bounce to Pippen, the layup goes. Another quarter to play. 3 for Pippen. Bingo.
That night, Bulls fans witnessed the beginning of a career that would change the team's future and NBA history.
Whoa.
In the 1988 playoffs, Pippen played a crucial role in a defining moment for the Bulls.
I really noticed Scottie during the 1988 playoffs against the Cavs.
Stealing passes, grabbing rebounds, making plays.
Scottie Pippen, who has picked up after a slow start in the series, gets the starting nod.
Nice, yeah.
Double quickly on Darty. And...
Wait, what did I just hear there? What is this video?
Quickly on Darty. And...
Okay. I don't know if you guys are listening with headphones on, but it's pretty interesting.
Something during the course of the year, he lost confidence and didn't do that. And in a game like this, he's performed.
Good D.
He had all of the tools. Was he the best at one of them? Possibly not.
And the young man in the pivot. Steal Pippen. Scottie Pippen's going to be a star in this league.
He will be. There's no one in the league that could say they had every tool that he has.
A 2-point game. Off year by making that trade. It hurt the chemistry, and a steal by Pippen.
Yeah, that's what made the duo so great. Is Jordan excelled and was the best at most things. Let's be real. But then you've got a partner in Scottie who is good at everything. He's not great at one particular thing, but he's good all around. He could D up, you know. He's going to bring the ball up the court. He's a good passer. His shooting was never really that great, but as far as attacking the basket, fantastic, you know. So, hey, you needed a guy like that. It was a perfect 1-2 punch in my mind, because he was the support system that Jordan needed, so Jordan could go out there and be wild and do what it takes to win.
The Bulls lead for the first time in the game.
In other words, they weren't playing the same role. They were playing completely different roles.
Now you got to remember, Michael Jordan is on the bench right now, and this team out here is trying to prove something that, hey, we're not a one-man show. We can play this game too.
This was the first real sighting of Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen has got to be the man of the hour, the rookie who got the starting chance today and has responded with 24 points and great all-around hustle.
And I thought, wow, He's the perfect addition to the Bulls.
The Bulls needed someone besides Michael Jordan to come through today, and they found it.
24, 6, and 5. Good game.
Is Scottie Pippen.
The 1988-89 season had just concluded for the Chicago Bulls.
Pippen gets a wire in the air.
After a hard-fought Eastern Conference Finals loss to the Detroit Pistons. Scottie Pippen's rookie season saw him averaging the following, with limited playing time. But already 1 year later, he had almost improved by twice as many in every category.
Yeah, he was coming off the bench before, so now as a starter, 14, 3, 6, and 2. 2 steals a game. Very good. A little surprised that the rebounds were a little low for a small forward position, but once again, he was still young. He didn't really start peaking until I would say 1990. 1990 is when his peaks began, and it probably went on until about like 95. So he was still coming into his own here.
Scottie first. A rookie on the ballot is unusual.
Can you tell me a little bit about Scottie Pippen?
Scottie was an incredible player. There were only a couple guys that were bigger than me that I was uncomfortable when they guarded. And Scottie was one of those guys.
Yeah.
He was lethal defensively.
Because he had a guard mentality on the defensive end, but then he had those super long arms, and he was tall. So he is a hell of a threat because he's fast.
Scottie has had an obvious rise in his basketball life, both in physical stature and in his play.
A lot of the world didn't know what kind of athlete he was. From Central Arkansas, a little small town.
Did you ever in your wildest dreams in Central Arkansas a year ago think you would be standing here with your name on an all-star ballot?
I knew he was that talented. If he wanted to score 20, he scored 20. If he wanted to stop you from scoring a bucket, he stopped you from scoring a bucket. His mindset was that.
Well, no, I'm just glad just to get the opportunity to be able to play in the NBA, and also this opportunity for me to get a chance to get my name on the ballot, you know, to have a chance or opportunity to get into the All-Star game.
I always admired Scottie Pippen in his game and appreciated him. And then I thought about something. He's the most disrespected all-time great player in any sport that any game has seen.
Interesting.
I don't know about
Scottie
that.
Pippen, who was the second most important person in providing a dynasty in one of the greatest sporting runs that has ever happened. Like, I think younger generations of basketball fans, I'll use, my son as an example. He's 18 years old. He knows everything there is to know about Michael Jordan, and he knows Scottie Pippen was a really good player who played with him. Because if you're not old enough to have seen it, then maybe you don't realize it, and maybe history hasn't done a good enough job of telling Scottie's story.
I feel like it has. I think one that's criminally underappreciated is Kobe Bryant and his contribution in the first 3 championships there with Shaq, because there's a narrative of Shaq carried Kobe, and I think that's full of crap because their stat lines were pretty much 1-to-1, and Kobe was the closer. And 2, I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has been criminally done injustice for his contributions to the Lakers championships. A lot of people forget that, yeah, Magic Johnson has 5, but 4 of those were with Kareem, So I don't know. I think Scottie Pippen just kind of fell into that role because that's always how it is. Like we like to decide who's the main man and then who's the support. But I never felt like being the 2 on a 1-2 punch was like, that's disrespectful. It's just one's a closer, one's not,
Now as a regular starter on a rising Bulls team, Scottie Pippen had taken his game a step up.
89-90. Yep, rebounds are up. Everything's up. Steals are still fantastic. Yes, sir. 89-90. This is right around when he's starting to peak.
In 1989, the Chicago Bulls brought in a new head coach, Phil Jackson.
In 1989, Jackson was named head coach of the Chicago Bulls, where he began to develop his own philosophy.
He challenges you mentally. He has his whole Zen thing that he has a belief in.
Phil was just a fascinating person who was willing to kind of try anything to motivate the team, to keep us interested.
Once everybody's connected, then the picture is beautiful and the bond is strong.
He had a different way of thinking about the game.
Coaching basketball and playing basketball was more than just a physical act, it's a spiritual act. In this book that was kind of the pivotal point of my coaching career, written back in '93, I quoted something that was from Rudyard Kipling. It was called The Law of the Jungle.
Kipling wrote, "The strength of the wolf is the pack." Is that we don't stand as individuals in this game. This is a team game.
Yep.
The wolf has to rely on the pack to fulfill what it's going to do. That's really basketball.
Phil Jackson introduced, along with Tex Winter, the triangle offense.
Phil's belief in Texas also was that you weren't going to win championships having one player dominate the ball all the time. It was too easy for a defense like Detroit to load up on you. So the decision was made that we were going to run the triangle.
Tex always believed in ball movement, player movement, and that's how you play the game. You don't believe in any individual having the talent to dribble, penetrate, or beat anyone.
Emphatic dunk.
It just felt like that you were showboating. That was always his words.
Triangle offense is a series of
and it worked until you ran into a defensive system like Detroit had. All of a sudden, just playing ISO and playing one-on-one ball, there's no way to beat those five. Because, we saw those five will put your ass on the ground every time you get through. So it's not going to happen with one man.
If the defense does one thing, you can move a different way. Or go take what the defense gives you.
In the triangle offense, you can move the basketball. It'll find its way back.
It was more a philosophy that promoted ball movement and player movement. Every guy feeling a part of the offense.
I think all in all, Tex made me a lot better player.
I think so too.
The triangle offense.
Tex made the whole team better. See, even on the coaching level, the quote that Phil Jackson had a little earlier, where he was saying, talking about the wolf in the pack, and every wolf has its role within that pack. Even on the coaching end, they did that. Tex was the visionary as far as how the offense should be played, and Phil Jackson was the philosopher who brought the team together spiritually and mentally. You know what I mean? But Tex put that into X's and O's, and the team also played their roles too. You had like a John Paxson, who he knew his job was wait for the double team on MJ, get a wide open shot, hit that shot. That's your job. Scottie Pippen had his role, support the main man. And Michael Jordan had his role, which was, hey, I got to go in there and play my ass off, but I also have to close out these games. Those are my jobs. And then you got a guy like Horace Grant in there who knows I got to go in and do the dirty work. It was a beautiful thing. And I miss team structures like this where everybody has a completely different role. But the whole job is to make a complete team that makes sense as a whole, as far as just being a bunch of individuals trying to do the exact same thing. If everybody was, in other words, if Scottie Pippen was out there trying to be Michael Jordan while Michael Jordan was on the court, this wouldn't have worked at all. And that's why I always respected Scottie Pippen back then.
Everything. It emphasized ball movement, spacing, and shared responsibility, giving Pippen more opportunities to handle the ball and make plays.
Tumbo and lays it in very nicely by Scottie Pippen. He's got 18.
It wasn't just about scoring. He became a facilitator, a defensive anchor, and the perfect complement to Michael Jordan.
Right side, Scottie Pippen will take it for three.
Yep. Notice that word compliment, because if he went in there just trying to be Jordan, like I said, they would have an issue. But he was basically figuring out what Jordan isn't doing at any given time, and he's filling in that gap. That's what a good teammate does.
The system allowed Pippen to use his versatility.
Under Jackson's guidance, he grew into one of the most well-rounded and valuable players in the league.
I don't think you could point to one part of Scottie's game and say, well, that was his weakness and he couldn't do that. I mean, even when he came in the league and he wasn't a great shooter right away, by the time he retired, he was a Hall of Fame shooter. He knocked shots down. So
here's Pippen for three. What a job by Scottie Pippen.
Scottie did everything on the court.
And that's fair, too. His jump shot did get better with age.
Coming up, the 40th annual NBA All-Star Game live from Miami, Florida.
Is this 90?
One of the top young forwards
records in the league. He has emerged as both a talented scorer and rebounder, making his All-Star debut from the Chicago Bulls, Scottie Pippen.
But you see what I mean? Like, the premise here of this video is that he's undervalued, underappreciated. But with it, like, so soon in his career, even being a secondary guy, you know, and developing into his game, he just barely became a starter. He's already an all-star. So we noticed Pippen. We all noticed Pippen. Plus, we had all the Bulls games on WGN. So, like, everyone knew all the Bulls players. And it was Michael Jordan, then Scottie Pippen, and then everybody else. So, yeah, I don't believe he was undervalued or underappreciated. He wasn't paid enough, but that's a whole different situation.
Experience I've ever had in my life. I can remember my first All-Star game. I mean, it was the greatest experience I've ever had in my life. But the second half of the season,
Yes, you were tired.
I was the worst player in the league. Like, I partied too much, or it just the whole weekend just took too much out of it. But I learned after that.
In 1990, Scottie Pippen earned his...
So that same year, he was partying. Is this 89-90 when he had the migraine against the Pistons in Game 7, guys? Let's find
first
out.
NBA All-Star selection.
Jackson's triangle offense gave Pippen more freedom to create and dominate as a two-way player, and the league took notice.
For an underdog. Scottie Pippen in the game. Chicago Bulls get open.
So it is. I didn't know he was partying at all. I never heard him say that. So I wonder how that played into the migraine, if at all.
Miami Arena, 51-34. Give and go. Lieber. Down the middle, Pippen the rebound. In your face, Scottie Pippen. Now the alley-oop, and Pippen seemed to move David Robinson way out of that area.
The 1989-90 season was a breakout year for Scottie Pippen and a step forward for the Chicago Bulls. They finished the regular season with a strong 55-27 record, their best yet. Once again, the Detroit Pistons stood in the way of Scottie Pippen's first NBA Finals.
Well, the Pistons have moved on, but you really got a feel for this man right here.
After years of being pushed around by the Detroit Pistons,
they feel like they could beat us at will. We were tired of this feeling. You know, I still remember the pain. They do the little things to frustrate us.
And the Bulls overreact, and Pippen lost his cool for a moment.
the Bulls finally broke through in 1991.
And that overreact, that was one of the main strategies of the Pistons, was piss you off, make you retaliate, and then, that's it. They got you. And I didn't so much understand that when I was younger. It wasn't until Rodman was playing with the Bulls and I saw him do that to the opposition, where he would just pester you, pester them. I'm thinking the 1996 NBA Finals, what he did to Seattle. He just annoyed the hell out of them until they would retaliate. They'd shove Rodman, they'd punch him, they'd do whatever they could out of retaliation. And that's when Dennis Rodman would start clapping and smiling, looking at the crowd, because he knew, I got you. I got under your skin.
What?
And that's why I'm so sad this isn't a part of the game anymore. You're not allowed to trash talk or anything. So the psychological aspect of the game is gone. It was such a huge part of the game.
And they are greeting the introduction of the Detroit Pistons. The Chicago Bulls.
Yep, payback time.
John Paxson, Michael Jordan in the backcourt. Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen up front, and the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, Phil Jackson.
Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen stood shoulder to shoulder. Together, they swept the Pistons and finally broke through, showing the league they were unstoppable.
Phil's idea was to take advantage of Michael and Pippen, who just fly around like sleek Dobermans.
By and large, everybody became very dedicated to the fact that we had to prove on the court what we hadn't the year before, that we could play under pressure.
penetration, which forces their defense to rotate inside.
Oh, here's a knockaway by Armstrong to Pippen, ahead to Jordan with a jam. Grant to Armstrong to Jordan to Pippen, driving and dunking.
Yep. All this proves too, Jordan did a lot by himself. All he ever really needed was one dude to step up. One dude to step up and really give some help. And that man was Scottie Pippen. That's why Michael Jordan still to this day says, you mention my name, you should mention his name too.
Superman could have made that shot. Pippen on the outside. Get away from Rodman though. Drive and scoop and score.
And finally, Pippen and the Bulls reached their first ever NBA Finals. But they would have to go through the, at the time, current MVP, Magic Johnson, leading a strong Lakers team.
The NBA is a league of stars, and none shine brighter than Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan. And while much has been said about their respective teams, nothing has been more anticipated than their individual matchup.
Now, Magic and Michael, that's like a dream come true for us kids growing up. It would have been like Kobe versus LeBron for the next era, but we never got to see that, unfortunately. But it's the same kind of thing. Like these are the two top dogs in the league. You know, by this point, Bird was pretty injured and declining fast. So no disrespect to him. But yeah, the matchup we wanted was Magic and Michael for sure.
It's a dream that's taken 7 years to fulfill, with each player traveling his own celebrated route.
Even though Scottie Pippen was a respected player, everybody had their eyes set on the battle between Magic and Jordan.
This is a dream come true to play Michael in the finals. It's something that I think we've both been looking forward to.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Few athletes in the history of sports have had a career of such completeness and symmetry as Magic Johnson.
You know, when you're a competitor, you want to play against the best. I played against Larry, and I've always wanted to play against Michael.
That's what I love. I love that mentality, by the way. Like, that's what it's all about. You want to beat the best. Not join the best, beat the best. And that's what this was on a grand stage. Me and my guys versus you and your guys. Let's see who's better.
Decade, Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson.
The stage was set.
Moments ago, Scottie Pippen and the rest of the Bulls coming out onto the floor. There's Pippen.
I tell you what, it's the ultimate breakthrough, Bob, for him. He's had his scars. He's had his wounds. He's had a tough career thus far to this point. And right now, Scottie Pippen this season and throughout the playoffs is breaking through to the level of the Barkleys, the Birds, and the Worthies. He is becoming a superstar in his own right, and he proves it night in and night out.
Well said, Pat.
The moment had arrived for Scottie and the Bulls to cement themselves in NBA history.
Today, Game 1 between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Chicago Bulls.
Chicago Stadium, and they are basketball crazy here in Chicago as we approach the start of the NBA Championship Series.
And now, the starting lineup for your Chicago Bulls.
I love the intro with the the Parsons Project. I'm forgetting the first name. Alan Parsons Project song. Dun, 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 dun.
All right, Steve, Ahmad, for the Chicago Bulls, this is their first ever appearance in the finals of this, their silver anniversary season. For the Los Angeles Lakers, it is their 9th trip to the championship round in the last 12 years. Lonnie Divac, Bill Cartwright, and the opening tip controlled by the LA Lakers as Magic Johnson moves across against Michael Jordan.
From the beginning, the game was intense, with both teams matching each other's score.
Nice drive.
Both Pippen and Jordan had respectable performances.
Yeah, it wasn't enough, though.
But Jordan didn't manage to stop the, at the time, career assist record holder, Magic Johnson, who had an amazing eye for passing.
Clock at 5. Perkins from downtown. Johnson at the guards. They try to double up on Teagle.
Beauty, but under pressure, not able to hit. Magic with the spin. The pass off the dribble of Devos. What a play.
Yeah, let's be real and let's be fair here, because I remember this clearly, and I remember me and my brother talking about this at the end of game one, because we were sad. We loved Magic, but MJ was our guy. We've been rooting for the Bulls since, since I was 5 years old. So after game one, like in hindsight, it was just nerves, because we knew at that point, what we were afraid of was they weren't going to overcome these nerves, because Magic and the Lakers, they've been here before. They have a culture around winning championships. Being in the NBA Finals is nothing to them. These Bulls have never been there. None of them have ever been here. Even like the coaching staff, like Phil was here as a player. He was never here as a coach. It's like a bunch of rookies going against like legends is how it felt game one. They did overcome it. I'm very thankful that they did. But this game one, yeah, no one played natural on that Bulls team, because yeah, it's you got to imagine that level of pressure that you're just not used to. After this, Bulls were solid in the NBA Finals, but they needed one game to just crap away, basically, to get rid of those nerves.
Backing Livingston. Over to help, freeing up Worthy. Yes, Magic Johnson, after the slow start, has come on strong. He now has 17 points.
See, like something as simple as this, like Scottie just leaving his guy wide open right there. That's not like Scottie. That's not like Scottie at all. And then the no rotation coming in. You could just see if you watch game one, that wasn't the Bulls in their element.
Freeing up Worthy. Yes, Magic Johnson, after the slow start, has come on strong. He now has 17 points and 10 assists.
With 20 seconds left, the Bulls were up by 2.
Sam Perkins.
And Jordan would try to match that at the other end of the court.
All right, here we go. One in time. Michael, if they all run at you, remember Scottie's right here. 9 seconds, a lot of time.
Yep, all you need is 8.
Bulls down by 1. 9 seconds to play.
Gordon is down in the paint, being guarded by Worthy. Pippen must get it, and he does.
It's a good look. That was a good look.
I just knew Michael shot was going in. When I seen it, it was on target. It was up high enough. I was like, this is it.
It should have, too. That was a good look.
It rattled in and rattled out. I was like, oh, come.
You could see the disappointment in Jordan's face after the ball was rebounded by the Lakers.
Once again, nerves. Jordan getting that clean of a look. Come on now. Come on.
Over. The Bulls fouled, and that left 2 seconds for Scottie Pippen to create a miracle.
2-point Laker lead. Conrad will toss it in. Here's Pippen from center court. From center court, he fires it. And he hit the back.
Yeah, he almost hit that.
And that is it. The Los Angeles Lakers steal game one from the Chicago Bulls. They have defeated the Bulls 93 to 91.
Now, what I want to know is what was said in that locker room after this game for the Bulls. I would love to be a fly on the wall for that, because whatever it was, it worked.
The Bulls lost the first game of the finals, but for Scottie, even more than winning a championship was at stake.
Strongly supported by his family, his one regret is that his father, who died last spring, can't see him play for the NBA title.
I never did get the response of knowing whether or not he knew what I was doing. I knew that he was watching me on TV. It was the only feedback that I could get to know that, let him know that I had made it.
There's no question about it. This is singularly the biggest game in the 25-year NBA history of the Bulls franchise.
Los Angeles Lakers are in the catbird seat after lifting the home court advantage from the Bulls.
We felt like we were unbeatable, but, they proved us wrong.
You get to this point, and they will drown you. Flat drown you.
Yeah, that's another point, too, because they just got done sweeping the Detroit Pistons, that was like the impossible mountain to climb. That was their Goliath. And so after that, I would understand they're feeling a little overconfident going into game one. And then, you know, Magic shows why he's a 5-time champion. You know, you can't underappreciate something like that. This is nothing special for him. He'd been here many times before, but that's it. Now reality kicks back in, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is not going to get handed to the Bulls. They got to go out there and take it.
Now we got to go back to the drawing board and come up with something new.
And that they did.
Phil doesn't get a lot of credit for being a great strategic coach. The notion is he's chanting and he's involved in mysticism or Zen or something. But Phil's a basketball man.
Yeah, I'm sure that Phil Jackson knows exactly what has to be done to get his team to play to another level.
For game 2.
And that's the beauty of a guy like Phil, too, is because the problems weren't like so much execution, X's and O's. The problem was their brain, you know, their brains, their nerves, the psychology of it all. And that's where Phil is just fan-freaking-tastic.
NBA Final.
Going into the Lakers series, Phil had in his pocket the strategy that, look, I've got Pippen, who really plays point guard for us, point forward, runs the offense, and we'll put him on Magic at some point.
Yeah, MJ and the Magic split the role. I'm sorry, MJ and Pippen. They traded off guarding Magic, and it was a good idea. They also did this against Tony Kukoc in the Olympics in '92. Put a fresh body on him constantly. So they would just trade off putting hardcore pressure on him defensively. And they would continue to do this for years together.
Bulls admit that this is the biggest game of their basketball life. And they control.
Sorry for the allergies, guys.
And Scottie was about to get his chance at shutting down Magic.
And the foul called by Jess Kersey, and that is the second on Jordan.
Michael,
yeah, you got 2 fouls, MJ. Time to put Pippen on there. That way you stay out of foul trouble and then just rotate in.
Early, and so it became necessary.
Here's the switch right now. Take Jordan off, give him a blow, put Pippen on Magic for a while, take a little break at the defensive end for Michael Jordan.
Sorry for pausing so much, but then MJ can focus more of that energy on the offensive end. It's brilliant, actually.
I knew that I could cause him a lot of problems. I watched Magic my whole career and even before my career, so I knew the style of player he was, and I knew what I could do to prohibit him from being as effective on the basketball court as he had been throughout his career.
The change of putting Pippen
Long
on Magic
arms,
Johnson
block
rather than Michael
lanes.
Jordan. A little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, able to bump, be physical with Magic, knock him out a little bit further away from the block. And even in the final shot, it's a struggle for Magic to get a good one off.
One of the things that Scottie did was he, you know, on dead balls, he'd pick him up in the backcourt. He'd make Magic work. And Magic was good. He wasn't going to turn it over a lot, you know, but he made him work to get the ball up the floor. We rarely had someone of Scottie's athleticism and length who could guard him 94 feet.
Magic was like 6'9", playing the point guard position. But here was this kid, Scottie Pippen, I thought for the first time that was able to match him size for size, speed for speed.
We found a little thing that really disrupted their tempo.
They just dominated from then on.
Wild. And Pippen able to come away with it. Here's T-Box. Threw up a prayer, thought he called the foul. And here come the Bulls on a 3-on-2. Pippen off the hesitation.
Nice, going away.
A spectacular end-to-end.
After years of struggle, Scottie Pippen and the Bulls had done it. They emerged as champions.
Pippen comes away with it, and the Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship.
And this is the only NBA Finals they won in 5 games. Every other one they won in 6 games. This one, they got that one out of the way with nerves, and then they didn't look back, man. They just conquered. Me and my brother never saw that coming, I'll tell you that. After that first game drop.
After their first championship, the Bulls became unstoppable. The connection between Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen was the key to their success.
Chicago's success had always focused on Michael Jordan, but this year, more than ever, he would share the spotlight with another superstar.
People started taking notice that this wasn't a so-called one-man team, that there was another guy by the name of Pippen.
Yeah, it was a duo.
2 guys or 1 guy can't win a championship. I mean, Michael never won anything before I got here.
When you talk about tandems or duels, there's no way you can't talk about the two of us.
I mean, that's the one thing they can both say. Scottie didn't win without MJ. MJ didn't win without Scottie. In the NBA, that is, you know. On an individual level, yeah, Jordan won a lot of stuff, honestly. College, one time in the Olympics without Scottie, but one time in the Olympics with Scottie. So they're forever united. You know, whenever we talk about the Bulls, we're always going to talk about the two of them. And that's the way it should be.
Grant the rebound up court to Jordan. Michael a flip to Pippen.
And it's the same thing I used to think was going to happen with like Penny Hardaway and Shaq. I thought they would stay together forever, you know, and there would be that duo like Kareem and Magic was, and you know, many other tandems like that. And I was sad to see that that didn't happen out there because Shaq left. But that's how we used to always see it. It wasn't so much like, you know, giving one person all the credit. The 90s and the 80s were all about like duos. And this was one hell of a duo here in Chicago. And I loved that Orlando duo with Shaq and Penny. They had everything they needed. They just needed to mature, and they would have eventually won.
The championship trophy was almost in their grasp. And fittingly, Pippen and Jordan would help them reach out and grab it.
Yep, that 92 team was crazy. Not one, not two.
In 1992, Scottie Pippen played in his first Olympics, on a team often referred to as the greatest basketball team in history.
When did you first realize just how special this group was?
I think when they called me up and told me I was part of the team, you know, I realized that I was a part of a group of guys that I had pretty much idolized before I got into the game.
Once again, how could we say undervalued or underappreciated? He was on the Dream Team. Dream Team won, okay? Other than Christian Laettner, that was literally the best players the NBA had to offer. And Scottie Pippen got one of those spots. I believe it was 12 players, right? And one was Christian Laettner coming out of college. That was that was kind of a toss-in. But if you say you're 1 out of 11, you know, most appreciated, most recognized players in the league, I don't think that's undervalued. You know, he was valued very properly.
Famous. I don't think you can ever do that again at no point in time.
I didn't feel like that I deserved to be called, but I truly wasn't going to tell them that.
This group may well be the greatest team ever assembled in the history of team sports.
Scottie Pippen. People didn't realize on the USA team, he led the team in assists. It wasn't Magic. It wasn't John Stockton. It wasn't the two best point guards in the world. It was Scottie Pippen. You know,
and a lot of people don't know what's crazy. And if you know, you know. If not, you're gonna get into a comment and say that I'm wrong or I'm crazy. But if you know, you know. Charles Barkley was the best player on that team for those Olympics. The guy had something to prove, and he was about to go to Phoenix, and he was heading into his MVP year. Like, he had something to prove to the world. And man, Charles Barkley played so good. Everyone played great. Don't get me wrong. Everyone played great. Charles Barkley, my God, he was out there just crushing the rest of the world.
It's valuable because he's the one that's getting the ball from out of Jordan's hand to a Barkley, from Barkley to a Mullen. He's the one that's making sure all these guys, and he's sacrificing himself, but he's the most valuable.
Things for international competition, even as they play in the tournament.
Well, Bob, when you use the skip passes, Michael here is going to... Nice play. You were waiting for Michael to do something spectacular, and he did it with the pass to Scottie Pippen.
We wanted to win and we wanted to dominate, but how we did it, sharing the ball, including everybody.
we did it as a true team.
The U.S. has defeated Croatia 117-85, and they have won the gold here in Barcelona.
And that Croatia team had Petro, they had Toni Kukoc, and some guys I'm not going to remember right now, but whenever I do watch a game, there's so many recognizable names there in on that Croatian team. It was a good matchup, but this USA team was just forget about it. Forget about it. It's the best I've ever seen. And they weren't young. They weren't young kids.
Man, sent chills down my spine. It was a reward that I had never felt like that I would ever achieve. To do it on that stage with those group of guys, it's a memory I'll never forget.
Fresh of the 1992 Olympics, both Pippen and Jordan were fatigued, and it showed.
Scottie Pippen against Willis. Lost the handle on it. Kevin Willis picks it up. A disappointing opening night here in Chicago.
Yeah, they struggled in the regular season, but you gotta understand, two championships in a row, and then on the off season, instead of resting their bodies, they're out there on the starting lineup of the Olympic team. You get a couple of weeks of rest, and now boom, right into another season where you're expected to win again. So it's not like you're gonna just exit. You're not gonna make the playoffs and you're gonna get those extra couple of months off. No, you're going for another championship. Yeah, these guys should have been tired for sure.
It's tough. It's just tough to get ourselves the mental frame of starting fresh. We just went through this. We got to go through it again, and I think that hindered the way we started the season.
We started out with a lot of guys not healthy, and a lot of guys, speaking as myself and Michael, not really ready for the season to come so quickly.
Although the season didn't start as planned, Scottie Pippen and the Bulls stayed resilient. They kept pushing forward, trusting the process and believing in their ability to succeed.
All of our players is back healthy, and everything was there. We just needed to bring it to the court and perform.
Yeah, it makes sense that they took it kind of easy until the playoffs, and just went out there in the playoffs and just crush everybody after that. It makes perfect sense because it's a long season, man, and they're tired. This is a fun video.
20 seconds left. Bulls up by 1. Scottie Pippen steps up in the clutch to secure the win.
Oh, New York. This is when it went Game 7, I think, right? 93 with the Knicks. Yeah, that defense is sick. Let's watch it again. It's a little blurry, but
win.
It's one block. There's a swipe by Jordan. There's a block by Pippen. This defense is awesome. I can't even tell what happened there, but it looked like two guys got their hand on the ball. Brought down by Horace Grant. Dished out to Jordan. Now, what a team effort. It actually gives me goosebumps watching this. That's some team defense. That's willpower.
Stopping Charles Smith. Scottie Pippen, one of the heroes for the Chicago Bulls, doing it on the defensive end.
In the finals, it was Scottie's all-around brilliance that shined. Against MVP, Charles Barkley and the Suns.
Prime Charles, dude. Prime Charles. Like I said, he was the best guy on that dream team squad. Shockingly, it's still shocking for me to say it, but every time I go back and watch it, I'm like, yep, Charles was hungry. And he was still hungry at this point.
Averaged a triple-double, dominating on both ends of the court. Barkley and the Suns. He nearly averaged a triple-double, dominating on both ends of the court. Oh, yeah,
he'd get 14 rebounds like it was nothing.
Finished the 92-93 season with their 4th straight 50-win season, and were poised to become the first NBA team in 27 seasons to win 3 consecutive championships.
It has come to be thought of as one of the most elusive accomplishments in all of sports.
In the finals, the Bulls took the first 2 games against Phoenix.
Tied at 2. Oh, beautiful alley-oop for Scottie Pippen. A look-away throw by Michael go Jordan.
But the Suns refused to roll over and rallied to take 2 of 3 in the Windy City.
He's setting for the 3, and he hits it. Charles Barkley had about a half hour to line that shot up.
Behind the NBA's MVP, Charles Barkley. Up next, Game 6 of the 93 NBA Finals.
Back to Grant.
On Barkley.
By Scottie Pippen.
They want Michael to get a full head of steam, try to keep him in the middle of the floor.
Well, Pippen got the snap. Here's Paxson.
Wide open, too. It's a great play. And see, like I said, everyone knows their role. That was Paxson's job. That was his job. And he waited there for it, too. He knew what was going on.
They want Michael to get a full head of steam, try to keep him in the middle of the floor.
Well, Pippen got the snap.
Yep, he's waiting right there. And you better hit it. That's a high pressure job.
Take a 1-point lead, and Phoenix calls for time with 3 and 9 seconds remaining in the fourth.
A guy like Paxson in a game like this, like, you might get 5 shots all game. And to know, like, you might get this shot, that's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. Yeah, and a great block by Horace Grant here. On Kevin Johnson, which is sad. KJ, man, I love KJ. I love this Suns team. But what a block by Horace Grant.
Seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Johnson gets he could not get it off. Knocked away by Grant. It's all over. The Chicago Bulls. 3 straight NBA championships.
Repeat so sweet for Bulls. That's what the headline said. All right, stats chart 90. So those are his averages between the 3 years. I'm assuming 19, 6, 7, 2. His steals always stayed up there, so good. His scoring went up slightly. Everything else pretty much stayed the same. He improved a little bit on the rebounding end, so nothing drastic, but his impact on the floor was noticeable in those years.
The Bulls were dominating the league, but in the summer of 1993, something happened that would alter their path.
I'm very solid with my decision of not to play the game of basketball in the NBA.
Without Michael Jordan, their performance has been perhaps the biggest story in the NBA this year. The guy leading the way for the Bulls now is a supporting actor turned leading man, Scottie Pippen.
The day Michael retired, his locker was cleaned out by the Bulls. I thought it was going to become a memorial, but instead, Scottie moved right in.
I think for many years, people said, I'm not an all-star, I'm just riding Michael's coattail. Well, this was an opportunity with Michael's departure for me to really step forward and show some leadership.
But I think he was saying to everyone, it's now my team.
And maybe somewhere along the line, he realized that he doesn't have to be Michael Jordan. He can be Scottie Pippen. And that's certainly good enough for us.
You know, as much as this was fun to watch, this era of the Bulls, I almost wish it didn't happen. It started out so great for Scottie, but then how this season ended, you could just see the void, you know, left by Michael Jordan as far as leadership goes, and, you know, closing out high pressure games goes. Like, you know who was missing there. And it was MJ. And then the collapse that started the following season, I almost wish it didn't happen because it started out as such a positive for Scottie, but then it ended up being kind of a stain on his legacy because we saw, oh, so he's not that guy, but he's a great number 2, possibly the greatest number 2, but he's not that guy, you know. And before that, we all wondered. We were always talking about it. Like, you know, Scottie's almost as good as MJ, but then we didn't realize that he didn't have that burden to carry that entire time of being the leader. And hey, he did a good job. It's just it wasn't the same. His stats and his numbers sure skyrocketed though.
For 3, now he goes in the hole over the top of 7-2 Rick Smith.
I would go so far as to say that Scottie in our league is probably the most complete player we have.
I'm not going to be the NBA leading scorer.
He's not that type of player.
I'm more or less out there to make us look good as a team and make us play well.
May 13, 1994. The Bulls were tied with the Knicks in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Scottie made a decision that would forever haunt him.
I was Bulls All-Star and team leader Scottie Pippen on the bench at the crucial climax of last night's showdown.
I wish this never happened. I wish none of this ever happened.
Phil drew up the play for Tony Kukoc. Pippen didn't like it, and he said something to Phil. And Phil said, "This is the way the play is going to stand." Pippen says, "Well, then take me out." Phil says, "All right, then, go to the bench."
Myers triggers the inbounds pass.
But what a shot by Tony.
Kukoc for the win.
What a shot by Tony. And you never seen a game like this. Like, you see the coach, you see Phil. Like, everyone is celebrating, but it's so awkward because there's something serious that just happened here. The leader of the team just refused to play. He refused to go in. That's not something you see every day. I can't even, like, recall any other time I could really say that. Can you guys? When did this ever happen where the team leader refused to play the final possession? Like, in any sport, really. Let me know. I'm curious what you guys come up with. But look at Phil. That doesn't look like a coach who just drew up a game-winning play in the NBA playoffs and won the game. You know? That is not a happy coach. Because he's the leader on the sideline, Scottie's the leader on the court. And now there's a huge divide.
Scottie Pippen was not involved in that play. He asked out of the play. I left him off the floor.
He talked to us all and let us know where he was standing and how he was feeling, and apologized to everyone for just the incident in general. He apologized, and that's basically all that needed to be said.
In Game 6 of the same series,
I am glad he apologized, though. But you can't get those moments
Pippen
back.
delivered one of the most memorable dunks in NBA history.
Well, I guess to most people, it's probably one of the greatest dunks that they've seen me have, or maybe one of the greatest dunks in the history of the game.
Myers for Pippen. Scottie Pippen in the face.
I love it. I love that dunk.
I remember that dunk. I think I was so frustrated to play before that I felt like I could touch the roof, and I just sort of felt Patrick falling, and he tried to grab me, and I didn't do anything. I mean, it looks worse than what it is, but I just tried to release his arm so his momentum would just let him fall back so he wouldn't pull me down, and my momentum was still coming towards him, and I ended up sort of just walking all on top of him.
Yeah,
Without
all
Jordan,
fair.
Pippen lacked someone equal to him to help lead the team during tough moments.
We've lost one of the greatest players in the game, and it's been 2.5 months, and we haven't made any changes or did anything.
Without Jordan, Scottie Pippen averaged 22 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 5.6 assists. That season, Scottie Pippen earned himself the All-Star Game MVP award.
I remember that too, yeah.
People said, "I'm not an All-Star, I'm just riding my
No, I was rooting so hard for Scottie this whole season. Boy, I tell you, like in this All-Star game, I was rooting for him to get MVP. I was so happy he got it. I'll never forget what happened in those playoffs against the Knicks. That still hurts to this day, what he did. And then the next year when he was calling back for Michael Jordan, man, oof, still gives me chills.
To the game at that. Ties it at 6. Pippen for 3. And Scottie Pippen back-to-back trays. Earl Malone, oh, what a fine pass to Elijah White. Scottie Pippen showing in this one quarter his do-all talent.
In the season, he also finished third in the NBA MVP
Again,
rankings.
not undervalued. NBA All-Star Game MVP, Olympic gold medalist, 6-time champion, number 2 to the greatest player to ever play the game. He gets his flowers, and he deserves his flowers. I just don't want to pretend like he doesn't get them.
In the next season, the Bulls had a very average season. They had managed a 34-31 record before Jordan came back in the 66th game.
Came in a 2-word statement, which is now just begging to have a Nike campaign built around it. Quote unquote, "I'm back."
Ultimately, Pippen, Jordan, and the Bulls fell to the Orlando Magic in the Eastern Conference semifinals.
It's all over, and the Bulls' season comes to an end. Here at the United Center, and the Orlando Magic, the #1 team, gets the victory.
But this marked the beginning of something greater. The greatest duo of all time was back together.
Yep. And they didn't even need a full season to figure it out.
If it wasn't for Scottie Pippen, there would be no 6 championships. I'm telling you
of
right
course.
now, guys.
Same with Phil Jackson. Same with Michael Jordan. Same with John Paxton. You know, like everyone played their role. Horace Grant played his big role in the first 3. Dennis Rodman in the second.
Just how great he was, and that he was historically much, much better than just the second
People are
best
so
player on
weird.
Michael.
It's a team game. You know, like you can't go 1v5 and win. So of course, everyone is crucial on the team. You know, Pau Gasol with Kobe. And Lamar Odom playing his role, Derek Fisher adding leadership. Like, everybody deserves a little bit of credit. Of course, there's a main guy. You know, there's always a main guy, but we always got to give flowers to everybody who played the support roles.
Jordan's teams.
Yep. Sorry, Seattle.
Pippen is driving in, and the basket comes in a foul. Scottie Pippen alone.
Crazy, man. I love Scottie Pippen, bro.
Of course you do.
Yeah, Scottie was like the shit. Like, I mean, obviously MJ was crazy, but like Scottie Pippen and Penny Hardaway was like my two, because I seen myself in them.
After Harper.
I bet you saw yourself in him when he refused to get into the court when the call wasn't played for him. It sounds a lot like you, LeBronto.
Scottie Pippen, tough fake off the number. Scottie Pippen has had the playoff of his career so far. He's been magnificent.
See, Scottie is such an unselfish player. He's the greatest all-around player in the NBA right now.
Here is the inbound. Knocked away.
Ring a ding ding, number 6 or number 5. 5 and 7 years, and then 6 and 8. Not 1, not 2,
Scottie
not
Pippen.
3, not 4, 5.
Signed a deal in 1991 for 7 years for $18 million. And if he played it right, he could have made 9 times that amount, 10 times.
I felt like I couldn't afford to gamble myself, getting injured and not being able to provide. I needed to make sure that people in my corner were taken care of.
In the 1997-98 season, Pippen earned $2.7 million, making him the 6th highest paid player on the Bulls and ranking 122nd in the NBA, despite being a pivotal contributor to the team's success.
Scottie Pippen of the Bulls will be out for 2 to 3 months. It's an injury that's been bothering him dating back to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I had a ruptured tendon in my ankle, and I decided to have surgery late because I was like, you know what? I'm not going to put my summer up trying to rehab for a season. They're not going to be looking forward to having me, so I'm going to enjoy my summer, and I'll use the season to
Yeah, this
prepare.
was also a bad look. I'm not going to lie. And when they ask him about him, he says he would do it again the exact same way. It's just not a good look. I don't know. I don't know what you guys feel about it, but I remember the beginning of that 97-98 season. And yeah, it was a huge void because he's the number 2 guy. And he was nowhere to be found because he was injured. He was rehabbing.
Looks like Scottie Pippen is laboring as he moves up and down the court. Ahmad told you he's suffering from a bad back. Bulls lead by 9, but here's the
Yeah,
bad news for
98
them.
is the one year where it's like Jordan really had to carry the whole team on his back, like the entire year, because Scottie Pippen wasn't there in the beginning. When he came back, he wasn't, a full-powered Scottie Pippen. And then in the playoffs, he was struggling. And in the NBA Finals, he had the locked-up back. Like, Jordan had to really go into God mode pretty much that whole year in order to accomplish this championship. I'm actually still really shocked they managed to win this one, the 6th one. Because every other one, it's like, yeah, totally. You can totally see it happening. This year, the deck was stacked so against them to actually come out on top and win a championship. I don't know how they did it. And to do it against the best Utah Jazz team I've ever seen.
To go, Scottie Pippen, accompanied by trainer Chip Schaefer, leaves the bench and heads for the locker room.
I was running back in the locker room, cortisone, whatever kind of medication I could get in me. I definitely was not able to play a game 7.
Yeah.
With Pippen out.
And that's crucial. You know, right there, that last thing he said, like he could not go a game 7. So this was do or die, basically.
Able to play a game 7.
With Pippen out, Jordan had to try to pull it through. But Karl Malone and John Stockton was not that easy to stop. Luckily, Scottie came back.
Did you start? Really? All right.
Scottie Pippen is back out here on the floor. Whether or not he'll be able to play and play effectively, we'll find out.
Energy that way.
Is Pippen anything more than a decoy now on offense for Chicago?
That was his job.
He's the initiator of the offense. That's all he can do is be a post feeder and be a presence out there just so they have to honor him.
I mean, if he was out there, then at least he can be a decoy, and then, you know, MJ can continue to play off the ball. And that's all they needed from Scottie, really. That was it. Him shooting and stuff, that was just to allow him to be a decoy. You know what I mean? So that the defense does have to play up on him.
Giving it his best, and that time it was good enough.
With 42 seconds left, John Stockton pulled off a three-pointer to secure a Utah lead.
Cross-court Stockton, a 3! It's there!
Because of Pippen's injury, only one man could step up.
Pippen into Jordan. Michael working on Russell.
2 points.
Brings
he got a
them to
couple free
within
throws
one.
right in there,
But still
too.
behind by 1. With 30 seconds to play.
MJ got the layup. He got 2 free throws. He got the clutch steal. And then the shot.
Open. Chicago
Like I said, he
with the
put him
lead.
on his freaking back. Like MJ blows my mind, dude. I can't believe this guy was real. I can't believe I watched this stuff in real life.
Stockton. Harper's on him. Behind the screen. Harper got a piece of it.
Imagine if that shot went in.
The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their second three-peat.
I tell you, Bob, as you look at Scottie Pippen there, I remember all Scottie ever heard about was the migraine headache, and that he couldn't play with pain. Well, today, they could not have won this game without him.
In all the videos,
yep,
you never just saw me. You saw Scottie Pippen. Every championship I won.
He was the best defensive player in the league by far. He was the one who made us all feel comfortable and confident. He was beloved on that team.
Welcoming Scottie to the Hall of Fame is Michael Jordan from the class of 2009. Ladies and gentlemen, Scottie Pippen.
MJ, you have touched so many people's lives, but none like mine. Thank you for being the best teammate. I will always cherish that, and I will cherish our relationship forever.
I wish that was true. Man, I hope they figure crap out. Yep. See, that's the thing, you guys. Right here. He got his money. You know, it came late. Scottie Pippen got paid, though. And I'm glad he did, because that would have been a sad story if he would have got injured and wouldn't have been able to sign a big deal. But he did get to sign a big deal. And he made a lot of money in his NBA career. And well-deserved. But let's not pretend. A lot of people are going to be out there pretending like he never made money. He always got underpaid. No, he eventually made a lot of money. He made over $100 million, you know, playing basketball. Crazy video. Crazy video. Oh, that's what it is. The GOAT Legacy channel. Man, you guys, I think this video was made by AI. And it's scary because this video was actually really good. But I'm pretty sure this was made by AI, just like the GOAT Legacy Jordan documentary was made by AI. And this is crazy. This is a 51-minute documentary, and they did a really good job of covering Scottie Pippen's entire career, at least as a Chicago Bull. So the technology is getting pretty wild. But anyways, you know, long story short here, like to wrap it up, when the greatest player of all time is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and the very first words that he utters is, whenever you say my name, you should say Scottie Pippen's name, you know, and mentioning that every championship I won, Scottie Pippen was there with me. He didn't mention any other names. He just mentioned Scottie Pippen. You are not underappreciated and you are not undervalued. So that's just really how I feel. I feel like he's gotten a lot of flowers throughout the years, and for some reason, it's just not enough for him now. And whatever's going on with him psychologically, I hope he gets help. I wish him the best, because a video like this, all it did for me is it served a purpose of just remembering how much I really loved Scottie Pippen. You know, I looked up to him so much, almost as much as I did Michael Jordan. You know, because I was the little brother, and you know, I played more of the Scottie Pippen role. I was whenever like me and my brother would play 2-on-2s, I played more the Pippen role because he was the older brother, and Jordan was the older brother in this scenario too. So I really loved Scottie Pippen, and it's only been over the last like 4 or 5 years, with all the stuff that Scottie Pippen's done, that I've got a bitter taste in my mouth when it comes to him because of his actions. But if we're just talking basketball and what he did for the Bulls, man, yeah. No, you can't forget about this man. Anyways, everyone, I'm going to wrap it up there. No After Dark tonight. This was a long one. I don't ever get to know how long it is until after I end this, and I'm thinking it's probably like an hour and a half. So those of you who made it all the way to the end, let me know in the comments that you made it to the end, because you're the real GOATs. And you're the real undervalued players out there. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed this documentary. So thank you all for the recommendations. And leave this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. And I'll see you all in the comments, okay? All right. Peace out, y'all. Appreciate you.